Beatmaker, the squad. What's good? Cheese, the producer. So, you're probably saying, Cheese, bro, you up here in a shirt and tie, you all suited and booted? Like, yes, I am. I'm in my classroom. I'm in teacher mode. And it's only appropriate because today I'm here to teach about myths, specifically 2 myths that have been put out there about the Liven Lofi 12. One myth is that you cannot trigger more than 1 sample per track. Incorrect. And the second myth is that if you change the sample while you're playing a track that has already been sequenced, it will change the sample on that track. Okay? There is a feature within the Lofi 12 that will allow you to get around these so-called limitations that people have not really figured out how to do yet. And it's a shame because there's actually videos that show you how to do this. So hopefully my video will also help. Okay? So before we get started, you know, got to do the thing, ask you to hit that subscribe button. If you're digging the video, let me know in the comment section what else you'd like to learn about the Lofi 12, if I can bring anything or answer any questions, or just let me know how you dug the video. All right, so let's get started. Myth number 1, multiple samples cannot be used on the same track. Okay, so I'm going to sequence a snare here on steps 5 and 13. But before I do that, I'm pressing the parameter button. If it is orange, parameter lock is enabled. Okay, parameter lock is your friend. All right, so 5 and 13 corresponds to beats 2 and 4, as you can hear. So now I'm going to change the sample in order to dispel a myth that if you change the sample while you have a sample loaded on or a sequence on a track, that it will change the sample on that track. Okay, so I'm going to sequence a kick into some empty steps. As you can hear, the kick and snare are playing on the same track. Okay, this is all due to parameter lock. Okay, parameter lock allows whatever step you have the sound programmed into for that step to basically be locked in. Whatever parameters are on that step will be locked in, hence the name parameter lock. So now I'm just going to clear the sequence, okay, and remind you one more time that a parameter button is orange, parameter lock is on. Parameter lock is your friend. All right, well, let's check out the resample option and the update. So before we do that, I'm going to create a drum loop to resample. So I'm just going to start with the kick drum. So it's sounding a little stiff here, so I'm going to hit, I'm going to hold function and just turn a little bit of the swing on, just to kind of give it a little bit of a looser feel. All right, kind of feeling that, so let's move to track 2. So I'm going to put a snare on track 2. So I had one snare there. I'm going to try this other snare that I have. Let me find the right pitch. You know what? I'm not really liking this snare. I'm gonna try it. Yeah, forget that snare. Let's go back to the original one. Yeah, this one works here. I like the snare much better. So I'm just gonna program just a really simple snare track. Okay, so the sample is just, this drum loop is just gonna be 1 bar long, okay? So now I'm going to track 3. And what I'm doing here is I'm adjusting the velocity so I can actually just step sequence the hi-hats in. And once again, parameter lock is your friend. So what I'm doing now is I'm bringing the velocity down so I can sequence the hi-hats and the steps in between so I don't have such a robotic hi-hat sequence, okay? All right, so I'm kind of happy with that loop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do just a tiny bit of mixing on this loop. So I'm going to go back to track 1, and first thing I want to do is I'm going to put the tilt effect on the kick so it bumps a little bit more. There you can hear the kick a little more prominently now. Oh yeah, that's even better. All right. So let's go to track 2, and I'm going to use the same effect, the tilt effect on track 2, in order to make the snare just pop a little bit more. And this is also taking a little bit of that bass out of the snare too, and it lets it kind of sit in the mix so it doesn't get in the way of the kick. So now I'm going to go to the hi-hat, and it's going to put a high pass filter on that. Pardon me, actually put a low pass filter on this because I don't want it to be too shiny and happy. I like kind of roll some of those high frequencies off. But in order to kind of replace them, to make it ring a little bit more, I'm going to put a little resonance on it. Okay. So now I'm just adjusting the level of the hi-hats, adjusting the level of the snare, and finally I'm going to adjust the level of the kick. Right. Now here I'm just going to turn the vinyl effect on just so it pops a little bit more, but I don't think it resamples the reverb. So now I'm going to bounce the drum loop down to 1 sample so I can free up 2 of those tracks that I just used. So I'm going to press function and setting until the display reads RSRC. Then we're going to turn the value knob until it reads PTN. This means that the pattern that's playing will be the sample source. But prior to sampling, I'm going to go to track 4. Okay, and the reason why I'm going to track 4 is I'm going to find a blank sample slot. And I'm going to find a blank sample slot, and then I'm going to step, sorry about that, I'm going to step sequence in 1 bar with the blank sample slot, because this same sample that I'm using here is going to be the same sample that will be used when I resample the loop that I just created. So I press function and sample. All right. Now it's counting down so you can hear the pattern playing. So I'm just going to record it for 1 bar. All right. May have done that incorrectly, so let's try this again. There we go. Got it that time. So let's just hear it. Now it sounds low only because this is corresponding to the volume of track 4. So don't worry about the volume now, because track 4's volume is not very high. So what I'm going to do now is mute tracks 1 through 3, and you can hear the loop is playing. So let me go and turn track 4 up. Well, first, mute track 4, then unmute track 3. Some whole function. Now, I know you're saying it's not that loud, but I'm still gonna make it a little louder by turning the compressor on track 4. Whoa, that's a bit much. Alright, so as you can see, track 4 now has our drum loop. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go into the other tracks. Oh no, actually, before I even do that, I'm going to resample the loop once again. Now that it's compressed, I just want to put it back through again. So let's try again. All right. Now you can hear it's got a lot more volume and bottom into it. So now let's go back to the sequence and press play. And the reason why it's playing again is because we literally just overwrote the sample that was playing before. So now I'm just going to the other tracks, holding clear, and I'm literally just clearing out the sequences that were on those. And I got a nice dirty loop that I really appreciate. And as you can see, I've unmuted tracks 1 through 3. So now let's find a sample and throw something on top of those drums. I like this sample right here. So I'm gonna find. So here, what I skipped over here was I went into sample edit mode, and I'm actually turning the pitch down by two semitones. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to use the chop mode by pressing select and function and mode until it goes to chop. Okay. I like the way it chopped, but if you don't like the way it chopped, you can go to function and adjust, and then adjust the value knob, and it will give you some other chops. I like this, so I'm going to lay the sequence down. All right, so let's go. So let's make this a 4-bar sequence by pressing function and length. All right, I'm going to press record. Well, actually, I'm going to press play. And press record now. And I'm just going to let it run through one time. Is that bar 3? Bar 4. Here we go. Okay, so in order to not keep you here all day, I've skipped the part where I added effects and a filter to the sample. Now I'm going to add a bass line. Okay, bass line's on track 2. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to add like a saxophone sample. So I'm putting this on track 1. Okay, so I've sampled it, so let's save it. Let's adjust the release on track 1. And then let's throw a delay on that. Oh, went past it, so let's keep going until we get there. All right. Okay, so let's adjust. So at this point, I'm just clearing a few steps because like the notes I played, they just lingered a little too long when I recorded them into the sequence. And that makes the back end of the sample play. But this is pretty much it. I hope this is helpful. I hope it helps you understand some of the things that can be done on this and kind of dispels any myths that have been put out there about what the Lo-Fi 12 can and cannot do. It's your boy Cheese, and I'm signing off for Beatmakers the Squad. Peace.